You know it's coming. It's in the air. You can feel it. You know right before Thanksgiving, you're going to go to the Sephora sale. It hasn't been announced yet, but you know it's coming. I'm the Hooded Lid, and welcome to my channel. When the sale is announced, I go to the largest Sephora near me and I stock stuff out. I look at things on Instagram, I look at what other people have been wearing, and I get together a list. This time I want to give you a list of things that I really like and would recommend. Most of these, well, a lot of these aren't new. It's not about what's new, it's about what's good to me. Now, I want to suppress the urge to buy something just because it's on sale. But at the same time, before Sephora came around, cosmetics were never on sale, ever. And if there's something that we like, something that's a basic or something that's special, why not load up during the sale? I do it, you do it, we all do it, let's do it together. I have a list. These are things that I really love and recommend. Before I get into the list, I just want to say what my skin type is because I'm going to talk about foundations. I am old. My skin is pretty normal. It's not oily, it's not dry, it's not flaky. However, right now, for instance, we're having Santa Ana winds and 95-degree heat for the last 3 days, and I am dying. So my skin does have a tendency towards dehydration, and incidents like this where it is 95 degrees and 10% humidity and Santa Anas, it can be very dehydrated, but not quite dry. So with that in mind, let's take a look at foundations. I'm pretty much going to be doing like the base face products, the foundation products. Well, okay, that's not entirely true, so stick around. Let's talk foundations. At the last sale, I bought 3 foundations that I really like a lot. One of them I'm surprisingly not wearing that much, but now that it's getting drier, I might. Let's talk about them. The Fenty Hydrating Pro Filter something or other. I really like this. I haven't worn it that much because I've kind of fallen in love with some other things, but worth checking out. The Kevyn Aucoin Ethereal List. This is so beautiful on the skin. When I looked on YouTube, I saw a lot of people saying it was horrible. One person said it was the worst foundation ever. I assure you it is not. If you have skin that is normal to dry, I really suggest giving this a look. Doesn't have a huge selection of colors, but it's so beautiful. It's worth taking a look. A color might work for you. Also, the Kevyn Aucoin Balm. This thing has been bullied and ripped to shreds on YouTube, and I've watched some of these videos, and I can tell you what my conclusions are. These people have not taken the time to finesse this medium. This is very different than a cream foundation because it's almost like a cream powder, and it does need to be finessed. I've worn this several times. I think it is absolutely beautiful on the skin, and again, not a huge selection of colors, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they have 45 colors and not one of them works for you. What matters is, do they have 3 colors and one of them works for you? This one has more than 3, and it works for me, and I really like it, and I think it's worth checking out. This is an old bottle of Cogendo. I have to say, I only found this foundation maybe a 1.5 years ago, and a month after I found it, I found out they were reformulating it, and I also found out they're changing the color of only one foundation in the entire range, and that is the one that I like. And I like this one because it's not egregiously yellow. So everything was taken out of stock and went back to Cogendo, and I went on their site and I bought 5 bottles. I know that sounds excessive, but this will illustrate my complete and utter frustration of trying to find a foundation color that doesn't make me look like I'm yellow or orange. This one does it, but it's beautiful. I don't know of a Sephora that carries Cogendo in store, but if you can find a sample of this somewhere, give it a try. I think it's beautiful. If not, they have a great return policy. It is not full coverage. If you're looking for something full coverage, you're going to be frustrated. Buildable to medium, to light medium, but beautiful. And I love it, and something to consider. Let's talk about concealers. Concealers are a tough one if you are like me and you have such dry, dehydrated, aging eyes. Everything creases. That's just a given. It's just is it going to make your under eyes worse? Really, that's what I'm looking for. I want to get some coverage and I don't want things to look worse. I have been wearing the Giorgio Armani for several months, but I've noticed lately, now that I'm changing my foundation color, this is looking very yellow. So I look yellow under the eyes and then lighter everywhere else. And I also feel lately that it is drying on me. So in the spring and summer, I really like this. If you're not as dry as I am, this is beautiful. Bendy Avocados. I was into this for a while, but the truth is, there's not a lot of coverage in this. It's not drying, but it's not doing enough for me. It's nice if you don't have as much darkness as I do. And there's a lot of women out there who wear concealer, but they're not as dark as I am. Bendy Avocado is really nice, and it's not dehydrating, it's not drying. That's a nice one. The one that I'm using more and more now is the NARS. I have loved this since it came out, and it's an unusual texture. I think a lot of people think something like this would automatically be drying, but I just don't find it to be the case. The coverage is good, it's very easy to manipulate. I just use the warmth of my fingers to melt it into a place, and I'm a very big fan. And then on my wish list, I think I want to get the Shiseido concealer. I tried it in store. Unfortunately, you just can't get a sample of something like that, especially that one, because it's a very unusual texture. It's almost like a liquid version of this. There's a weird thickness to it and yet a stretchiness to it, and I think I'm going to do that. And right now I'm wearing the Shiseido Synchro Skin Self-Refreshing Foundation, and I'm kind of liking this too. So I might get yet another foundation. We shall see. And I'm still considering, if you can believe it, the Pat McGrath foundation. I've got some samples of that one too. It didn't work for me in summer. It was smeary. It was just a nightmare. But I tried it on the other day and it was easy. And I don't know if it's weather induced. Maybe because everything's drier, I'm having an easier time putting it on. But it does leave the skin very beautiful. So those are my kind of wish list. I'm deciding in foundation and concealer. Contour and bronzer. I'm really not big on contour. I just about never do it. But this is a really nice kit. What I like about it is most bronzers are way too yellow on me, and they look kind of like that baby diaper color on my face. Really unflattering. These have a cool undertone, so they look very nice on me. This is supposed to be a blush, and I'll sometimes use this as a bronzer because it really gives you that sun-kissed, just a little bit maybe sunburnt look. Not in a bad way, but in a great way. The bronzer is very nice. Sometimes I'll mix it with the blush, and sometimes I'll wear the blush as a blush. And this contour is cool, but it's not too gray. These two I don't really care about. And this one, meh. But if you have the same kind of skin tone that I do, where you're not a very yellow person, just a little bit of yellow, this is really nice. And then for bronzer, the one I've been going to the most is this one. I love this one. I only have, honestly, maybe 4 bronzers, and I guess I go through stages of this is the one I'm wearing over and over and over again. Well, for me, this is the one I've been wearing over and over and over again for several months. It does the job. I really like it. I think if you're looking for a luminous, and it's not super luminous, but a luminous highlighter that has a skin-like finish, this is a good way to go. Blush. I love blush. I think I don't look finished until my blush is on. It makes me look alive and healthy, and you can have so much fun with it. And you could change your look going from a pink to an orange, or a pink and an orange. I believe in having several different iterations of your blush. So a cream blush, a gel blush, a powder blush, all of them. All of them are needed, I think. Maybe you have a foundation that's so wet you don't want to powder, but you don't want to put on a powder blush. I think it's important to have all mediums in blush. but I want to talk to you about a couple of powders that I think are so beautiful. Laura Mercier redid her blushes a couple of months ago. I think I got this at the last sale, actually at the spring sale. This is the color Grapefruit. It looks crazy, but it's not. It's so beautiful. These are so finely milled, and she really changed her line, where I used to think that most of her stuff was kind of rust to orange. She has some pinks in there now. The only problem is, I don't think Sephora's carrying the full line of her blushes, but I do absolutely love this blush, and I think if you're looking for a new blush in powder form, this is a good one to check out. Another good one to check out, limited colors, the Buxom. I love this. These are really beautiful as well. Same thing, finely milled, feels great on the skin, never looks powdery. Those are great. Surratt makes some beautiful blushes. Now again, I feel like Sephora doesn't carry this whole line anymore. These are two that I have. I actually have four. I have this single, and then I have another that I put together with one blush and two eyeshadows. These are, I believe they're made in Japan. They're so finely milled. Again, don't let this color scare you. You use a very soft brush for these. Don't use a goat. Don't use a synthetic. Use something like Squirrel to use these Surratts, because they can be very, very pigmented. And I use this Surratt actually for a bronzer sometimes, but it is a blush. Very beautiful formulation. So there's some good powders. This happens to be my favorite go-to blush. Whenever I don't know what to wear, or what am I going to do, nothing's really looking right, whatever that case may be, this is the color I go for. It's just perfect on me. I have no idea what this is supposed to be for. I guess if you think you overdid it, you can put that over, or maybe it's supposed to be a blush. I mean, who would this be a blush on? I'm not sure. I love this. My personal favorite right now, anyway, for the last year or so. More blushes, if you can believe it. I love the Shiseido Whipped blushes. They just give you a glow from within kind of feeling. Again, I love different mediums. This is a little annoying, and you might be able to see that this is pulling away from the walls a little bit, even though I close these very nicely. I keep them in a dark, cool place, but the color is beautiful. Oops. If you were to buy this and you were to use this every day, you probably wouldn't have this problem. I think I got these in April, so it's been a little bit of a while. I used them this morning. They're still fine, but you should be aware. It does have high water content and it will evaporate, but I think they're beautiful, and they have a nice selection of natural colors too. And finally, for the face area, let's talk about powders. Powders are really personal. I don't like to bake. I don't see the need for it. But I do use a lot of moisturizers and sunscreens, and sometimes my foundation feels like it's too shiny, or it feels like it's going to move around, and that's when I do a powder. I don't do a powder every single day though. Here are, my favorite powder is from By Terry, which Sephora doesn't carry. My favorite powders in Sephora have to be this Hourglass. I think it's very nice. It's not, I don't love it as much as the By Terry, but it's very nice. And the Charlotte Tilbury powder is just beautiful. It's beautiful. It might be my favorite product from her, or no, not my favorite product from her, but an unmatched product. I don't know of another powder that looks this invisible, it just puts a, really blurs out your pores. It's so lovely on the skin. So there's my face products. In eyes, I think we can do a big thing on palettes, or you can look at some of my recent videos to get an idea of palettes that I like or palettes that I'm frustrated with. There's a couple of palettes I have my eyes on, and I think I'll do another video about that. But mascara, let's talk. This is Lashtopia from Bare Minerals, and I like it. It doesn't flake, it doesn't smudge, and it leaves a fluttery look. That's my favorite kind of look. This is the Kush by Milk. I adore the way my lashes look when I use this. They have never looked more beautiful. I just put it on the first time, like, oh my God, these are the lashes I've always wanted. They're soft, they're fluttery, it makes you look like you have more, but it doesn't make you look like you have too many, if that makes sense. Unfortunately, this is an unreliable little bugger. Sometimes it smudges, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it flakes, sometimes it doesn't. And that's a chance I have a hard time taking. If you don't have that problem, or if you don't mind putting powder under your eyes, a whole lot of powder under your eyes, one from Hourglass that nobody talks about. This is called Film Noir, and it's a beautiful mascara. It does not smudge. It does not flake. It comes off with micellar water, so you don't have to use the oily stuff, and it gives you a natural look. Nothing's clumping together, and nothing's so perfectly separated that it looks spiky. It's lovely for everyday use, and I've been using this for years and years and years and years and years. It's the first mascara I ever found that didn't smudge on me, so I have a loyalty to it. I love it. You might love it, especially if you don't want that. For me, because of my hood, if my lashes are too long, they're going to be touching my eyebrows, and that's not a look I'm going for. Love this one. Pencils. When you're hooded, it's very important to find pencils that set and don't transfer. And the two that I have found that do that are Marc Jacobs and the Urban Decay. Boom. These are really, really lovely, and they come in a nice array of colors. I'm thinking personally, I'm going to get this. There's 2 greens in the Urban Decay. I'm going to get one of those since people are doing khaki now in the palettes, and I do love that color. The Marc Jacobs, I think I have enough. I find the Marc Jacobs to be creamier in its application than the Urban Decay, but it's hard to sharpen. It comes with a little sharpener, which fell out. Not that it matters, because I can't figure out how to use it anyway. And what happens is you're supposed to put it on over the tip and I guess twist it and the tip breaks off, whereas this is pencil in, you know, I don't know, wood or something. It's something you use a real sharpener for. Those are really, really nice. And of course my Pat McGrath that I use every single day. I love that, but it doesn't stay in the waterline. So if you're looking for something in the waterline, something else, but I kind of rub it in between my eyelashes to make them look thicker, and I love it for that. And that's going to be it for, oh, one more thing. These are universal liners. I have them, of course, for my lips because it's good color for the lips, but I have used these for my eyes as well. And Makeup Forever, very nice. It's a wood, so you sharpen it, like it a lot. So, liners. Lips are something that I can't really speak to. I have the driest lips on the planet. I'm always rubbing them together because they always feel so uncomfortable. These days, more and more people are making lipsticks that are dimethicone based, which I just don't like. It just makes me feel like it's sucking the life out of my lips. This is just a personal thing for me. If you have a problem with dimethicone based, you know what I'm talking about. And I also find part of their charm is after an hour, the color will bleed. So from the lower lip to the center and from the upper lip to the center, you just have a line of color. If you're buying something that's neutral, it doesn't really matter, but I've bought a couple of these in really bright colors and I thought, what is going on here? And it took me a while. I looked through the ingredients of different things and finally it occurred to me, the lipsticks that aren't working on me that are doing this are dimethicone based. So the only lipstick recently that I've really, really loved are the Laura Mercier's that came out last spring. She has a beautiful selection of colors and they're comfortable and they don't disappear and they don't migrate. They don't migrate into the center or outside. So that's a lipstick I really, really like. But I might have to do another video talking about some lipsticks because I do think you can make an easy change, boom, with a lipstick. The idea is for it to be comfortable and for it to stay for a little bit, or if not, at least it would fade evenly so you don't look crazy, which is always a goal for me. So that's going to wrap it up. I'm for sure, oh, one more thing. For the face, highlighter. I don't use highlighter every day, but when I do, this is the one I use. I don't feel the need to have 14 highlighters. However, if you don't like this kind of format, a color that is somewhat similar in, maybe not exactly in the tone, but in its subtlety, and I'm wearing it today. I just think it's subtle and real, and it doesn't leave a white mark like some of them do. The Laura Mercier #1 is a beautiful one. I don't have it with me, but it's huge and it's really lovely. And yeah, that is going to wrap it up for your base products. And I will come back at you with some ideas with lipstick and some ideas for eyeshadow palettes. Until then, I want to thank you for spending some time with me. I hope you found it informative, maybe helpful. No fireworks, nothing crazy here, just the basic stuff that I really like. And until next time, I'm wishing you a great day.